You ever hear something at night that makes your skin crawl? Maybe a sound you can't explain, a shadow moving just out of sight. Some stories stay with you forever, because deep down, we all know, the scariest things are the ones we can't understand. Tonight, I have two terrifying encounters for you. One about a strange, inhuman creature seen in the dark woods of Illinois, and another about a ghostly light that appears on an abandoned railroad in Arkansas. Both are real stories, told by those who lived through them, and after hearing them, you might never feel safe in the dark again. Tom lived in a quiet town, a place where nothing exciting ever happened. But one night, that changed forever. It started with a sound, a low, guttural growl outside his bedroom window. At first, he thought it was a dog, but then he heard something else. Heavy footsteps, dragging, scraping. Curious, Tom walked to the window and pulled back the curtain. That's when he saw it. A creature unlike anything he had ever seen. It had 3 legs, short, stubby arms, and glowing red eyes that pierced through the darkness. Its skin looked rough and scaly, like it belonged to something that had never walked this earth before. Then, in a flash, it was gone, vanished into the woods. Tom stood there, frozen. Had he imagined it? Was his mind playing tricks? But then, the scratching started. At first, it was faint, like nails against wood. But then it grew louder and louder, until it sounded like something was trying to claw its way inside. His family woke up to the noise. His father grabbed a shotgun and ran to the front door, but when he swung it open, nothing was there, just the wind and the eerie silence of the night. But in the morning, they found huge footprints in the mud outside, 3-toed, deep, not human. Word spread fast. Neighbors came forward saying they had seen it too, lurking in the trees, watching from a distance. Some said it was a mutant animal, others believed it was something far worse. The police investigated, but no one could explain the tracks, the growls, or the red eyes in the dark. And Tom? He knew he was being watched. Every night he heard the same noises. Every morning new footprints appeared, closer and closer to his house. Then, one night, he made a decision. He grabbed a flashlight and a camera and walked into the woods. He didn't have to go far. The creature was waiting for him. Its eyes burned brighter. Its breathing was heavy. And then, it lunged. Tom ran. He ran faster than he ever had in his life. He didn't look back, didn't stop until he was inside his house, locking every door and window. He developed the film from his camera the next day, but the photo was blurry. Too blurry to prove anything. Eventually, the sighting stopped. The creature was never caught. Some say it was just a hoax. But Tom? He never forgot what he saw. And sometimes, when he closes his eyes, he swears he can still hear those heavy footsteps in the dark. There are things in this world we will never understand. Some are creatures in the woods, others are spirits that refuse to rest. Which brings us to our next story. A small town in Arkansas, an abandoned railroad track, and a mysterious light that appears at night. Some say it's harmless. Others say, if you get too close, you might not make it back. Emily was a college student visiting her grandparents for the summer. She had heard the stories about the Gurdon Light, a floating ghostly orb that appeared on the railroad tracks at night. Locals believed it was the spirit of a murdered railroad worker still searching for justice. One night, Emily and her friends decided to check it out for themselves. They drove out to the old tracks, parked their car, and waited. For a long time, nothing happened. The air was still, silent. Then someone whispered, "Look." A faint orange glow appeared in the distance. It floated just above the tracks, swaying, shifting, getting closer. Emily held her breath. She lifted her phone to take a picture, but the second she did, the light vanished. They laughed it off. "Must have been headlights," one of her friends said. But Emily wasn't convinced. The next night, she went back, alone. She stood on the tracks, phone ready, heart pounding. Then, it happened. The light returned. This time it was brighter, closer, moving faster. Suddenly she heard whispers. Not just one voice, many. Muted, angry. Then, the air turned freezing cold. She turned to run, but her legs wouldn't move. It felt like something was holding her in place. And then, her phone screen glitched. Static. A shadow flickered across the screen. With every ounce of strength, she broke free and ran. She didn't stop until she was back in her car, doors locked, gas pedal slammed to the floor. When she checked her phone later, the video she took was corrupted, but there was one frame that stayed intact. It showed the railroad tracks, and in the middle of the frame, a dark figure standing in the light. She never went back, and neither did her friends. Some say the light is just swamp gas. Others believe it's something else. But Emily, she knows the truth, because whatever she saw that night, it saw her too. There are some things in this world we will never understand. A creature lurking in the woods, a spirit haunting an old railroad. Maybe these are just stories, or maybe they're warnings. The next time you hear something outside your window, or see something strange in the dark, remember these stories and ask yourself, what if it's real? Enjoyed these stories? There are more real encounters waiting for you. Click here to hear about the most haunted places in America. Don't forget to subscribe if you dare.